Oh my.
So
Right?
here we are. Here we are. Tribers.
Oh
Tribers.
my,
What a go on. What
indeed.
a go on. What a go on. So welcome to this chat. We are chatting about, well, one particular thing, you know, that's a central conversation. But also we're recording this on Friday night, which is the sixth night of our week of posts and excitements and commemorations of the 8 years of Tribe Sankofa, and feeling really excited about that. But also, we wanted to talk about the future, and we're going to be posting tomorrow about not just the past, but also what's coming up. And so, this conversation is the chapbook posse. I had the idea a while back about original work. A lot of people in Tribe are either writers, songwriters, singers. People have their own other individual gigs and talents. And I believe Tribe should be a space that also helps people advance and develop that and showcase that. And I thought, I could do like a chapbook thing. And I threw it out to Tribers, you know, and you 4, 5 were the ones who said yes.
Yeah.
Who said yes? Nervously. Some people said, some people took a little bit of coaxing.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The poem them, they were supposed to email me. Well, I have one, but maybe. And I'm really, so I want to, first of all, bless and honor all of you for moving past the fear and saying yes. Thank you. And Rika also functioned as kind of our internal writing coach and editor along with me, because Rika has a lot of experience as a writer and spoken word performer. So thank you for saying that, yes to that as well, Rika.
Absolutely.
So the 5 of you, so we have Rika Richards, known as Rika G, or Miss Rika G.
There you go.
Darren Ray Donaldson, Susanna Campbell, Kimo Armstrong, and Zara Warner are the 5 tribers who are going to be in our first Tribe Chapbook of original writing. Yay!
Woo! All right.
So, how do you feel? Who want to go first? How you feel about being one of the writers that's going to be featured in the chapbook? Who want to go first?
Okay, I'll go. I believe this was, well, for me, this was a very enlightening experience. I mean, it was so weird at first to actually challenge myself to write about certain topics, and, you know, having other persons reviewing it and giving me their feedbacks about it. And they're like, okay, you need to change this, you need to change that. Why did you say this? It was really a very pulling thing for me. Because I'm saying, okay, why are you asking me why I wrote this when you know why I wrote this? Why are you going to ask me? Yeah. But overall, I think it was an amazing experience. And I am very happy I said yes.
Good. Yay. Next.
I can go next. It was a very enlightening and freeing experience to be a part of this. I was one of those people that was in that email where asking for the poem. Because I have many ideas in my head that just wants to be let out, and I'm afraid to let them out. So this was a nice experience for me to let 1 and 2 out. And just like chemo, you know, when you get asked, so why did you say this? But I feel like I said why. But I said no, why did you say this? I don't know. Tell me. Like, why did I say this? But yeah, overall it's a nice, very fun experience, and I'm glad to have gone through with everybody here.
Thank you. Next.
Don't be shy.
Okay, I'll go.
Right. Yes. Come there.
So, I've been writing since I was about, God knows how long ago, I don't remember. But I remember I did my first poetry collection when I was about 13. It was this bounded book that I bought and wrote everything, mostly love verses, because you know you're 13. And my aunt left with my book of poetry and migrated, you know, to the US. So, I mean, I was upset. I was so livid. But she was like, no, man, you can write another one. And I don't know if she still has it, but I
You
remember
never
I was
you never got it back?
I never got it back.
Ask her back for
Wow.
your things.
But I never stopped writing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna write better poems, and I'm going
Yes.
to write more and all that. So for me though, this experience, because somewhere along the way, you kind of, I became afraid. Let's put it that way. I became afraid of
Mm.
showing people my work and trying to get published and all that. But this experience has been very, very affirming for me.
Yeah.
In addition to this workshop I did with Lorna Goodison last year, 2019, this this experience feels a lot like that. Like, yes, it's like coming home. Like, this is what you want to do. Why you're running, yeah. So I've just been basking in it. Just feeling very, very excited. Like, I just want to know what Lorna Goodison and what the other people, well, Mervyn Morris, who looked over the stuff, what they had to say and so on. I just want to dig in and fix and, yes, get it out there. That was my experience, yeah.
Nice, nice. Next.
Reeks, you want to go first or you want me to go?
I'll go.
All right.
So yeah, I self-published my first chapbook in 2015 as like a gift to myself for undergrad, for completing my undergrad. And so I'm not foreign to the idea at all of like, putting together a collection, and it's something I actually wanted to have my second one out by now. So I feel like having this project kind of be a buffer between me and my next personal work is exciting, because it's like, all right, I get the experience, get to kind of flex a muscle a little bit in ways that I hadn't previously. It was really, really dope also being on the editing side of things, or the coaching side of things, because I feel like I was able to get a new like layer of my relationship with all of the writers,
Yes.
that there's no other way that you can get that, because your work is intimate.
Yes.
So like I felt like I have that additional layer of love for this project, whatever it looks like in its final form. uh I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited. And like just my relationship with Tribe and where it is in my personal journey is very, very significant to my life, and this just adds like a nice crown on top of the gift that it already is. So yeah, I'm grateful.
Awesome. Awesome.
Nice.
Blessings. Miss Zara.
Yes. So one of the joys of getting older, right? I've been looking forward to getting older since I was little. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, to be a grown up, that's where it's at. Okay. I mean, I know it's hard and I know it never ends, but one of the great joys is getting to claim these multiplicities within yourself, not having to put yourself in this one box, or believing that even though you may not do something the best there is, because as a literature student, I was intimidated beyond belief by these great works that I'm reading, by these impactful things that changed my life. And I really thought, yes, I've been writing since I was 6, but how is something that I've written going to end up on a page and somebody read it and it make a difference? You know what I mean? Do I really have something different to say? And the joy with being where I am now is saying, okay, yeah, I do have something to say. It's not going to change everybody's life. It's not going to resonate with everybody, but there is room for it. There is space for it still. And being in this process has only reaffirmed that for me. I love a workshop. I love a workshop. I love a workshop. I mean, oh my God, any kind. Sign me up. I am there. Dance, acting, writing. I'm here for it. And to have the joy of being in communion with these writers, and to be guided by Rika and by you, Mr. Fabian, it's just, it's joy. Like, I don't care if when we got back our feedback, it's, total rewrite. It's, oh, honey, wheel and come all the way back again, because at least I will be in that process of claiming space and claiming all the sides of myself, and hopefully maybe somehow resonating with somebody in the process. So yeah,
Nice. Awesome. Big up on yourself. Big up on yourself. And and so Susie bust the thing already. Susie bust the thing. She bust the thing already. That after Rika and I did our what we call our internal editing and coaching process, I decided to ask some colleagues of mine, who I'm blessed to call colleagues and supporters, who are senior, big in editing, and we got yeses. So at the point that we're recording this now, none of the writers have gotten the feedback from the external editors yet. External editors, and at this point, one of them has not. We don't get his feedback yet. We're planning to do our feedback session on Sunday. So again, rush him again and say, Brethren, with the team, with the team, with the team. But the three people who said yes was Professor Mervyn Morris, who, I don't have the words, taught me literature at UWI. He's one of the most gracious and supportive literature masterminds in Jamaica. He needs several honors over and over again. The amount of writers Prof. Morris has supported, worked with, edited, just giving feedback, just graciousness. Colin Channa and Colin Bizino Juice, he recently had a poem called Spumante in the New York Times. Link him say, yeah, brethren, send it come. We're not sending his feedback yet. So saints and ancestors will gather and say, nudge him and say, brother, 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 brother. And the third one is the mighty Dame, Poetess, Priestess, Lorna Goodison, who also said yes. So we team turn up. And when I told the writer, they were like, what, who, what? Say those three names. We were like, oh no, woman didn't. But again, as somebody was saying, there's an intimacy about the editing process. Any kind of, I find editing, dramaturgy, playmaking, dance making, there's an intimacy in that creative process of building and creating and craft. That's something that never existed, but also honest and passionate engagement about what works, what doesn't, like why you said this, what does this mean? And something for the writer, it's clear to me, I may write it, but the person reading it is going, huh? And I always tell the story of Prof. Morris. I have a very personal poem of mine. He read it and he said, this is obviously something that happened to you. I could tell this. And he said, I'm going to give you feedback, but your option is leave it as it is because it's your catharsis, it's your poem. But he said, I think there's a way to make it more accessible to people who read it. So he gave me the feedback and said, go home, think about it. I went home, pondered it. A couple of days passed, and I went back and I said, let me do this excavation he's talking about. And I cut away some of the things that were very pertinent that he said he felt was blocking outsiders. It is my catharsis. And I said, I'm right. And so the version of the poem that's in the manuscript is the whittled down. And I say I have to search. I don't know if I still have the first one. I'm going to look for it because I hope I do, because I think it's a lovely example, even in a workshop, to say this is the original thing. I was very and then Prof. Martin, and I said at first I was like, what do you mean? My lovely thing, my catharsis, when we go through and with the feel, I know you're talking about, look here. So there's an intimacy in that. So I'm looking forward to sharing the feedback with you, and as we move forward. And guess what, Zara? There's no complete rewrite and start from scratch. None of that happened. So there's no dash for this and wheel and come again. No. So that is also a really nice thing. So people who are watching this, you are part of this journey with us. Our next stage now is we are going to know, I'm going to share the feedback with the writers. Then we're now going to say, you do your rewrites, edits, and the same thing, you can accept or reject the feedback. So if you really don't see where it makes the poem stronger, or because even Miss Lorna said that, she tell them, don't say them, make them think say, because it's me say so, they have to accept it. But he said, this is just my experience and this is my filter. I'm receiving the work. Our next stage now is figuring out formatting, order. Is each writer going to have their own section? Are we going to put the pieces together thematically? What they're going to look like on the page, graphic design, cover design. And our plan is to self-publish, or who knows, maybe a publisher will publish it. And we're pushing and hoping to have this ready. It may not be ready for Christmas gifting, but New Year, to have it published, and we want to do a few hard copies, e-versions, and an audiobook. And to the writers, we can figure out if all the poems will be in the book or some of them, and then the writers can figure out, do I voice my own work? Do I get somebody else to voice my own work, to voice my work for me? I think Darren has already said, I know, well, at that point, I will have somebody voice mine. It's okay. And then we're also going to look internally at things like money. If we sell the book, what's the cut? What's all that good stuff. So this is a new thing for Tribe Sankofa. So I want to thank all of you and bless you for saying yes and taking this journey. And I want you to share as we wrap, if you had to pick one or two writers or poets who have influenced you, who you think you channeled in your writing, who you draw on, who would they be? So anybody, no, we're gonna call people, gotta take too long. Let's start with Chemo. So I can bust Chemo business. Chemo is also open soul, a singer. So he said a lot of his stuff was songs that he then tweaked or something that started. So maybe it's a songwriter as well, Chemo. So are there any songwriters, lyricists, or poets who influence you, who styles you like?
To be honest, not that there aren't great people out there, but I don't necessarily get my inspiration from others. I get it from myself, from the experiences around me, from people that I see on a daily basis. So for my writings, all my writings really, I've never really had a singer or a poet that I actually look up to. But there are many out there that I actually, like the work. So I have no names to name.
All right. Susie. Open your mic.
Right, yes. Okay, so for me, Lorna Goodison is definitely one. I've been a big fan of hers for a very long time. And then there's Kwame Dawes, who I've been following as well, and whose writing kind of just stuck, There's also Chimamanda.
Adichie,
What's her last name?
yes.
Adichie. Yes, Chimamanda Adichie. I love, love, love her stuff. There's several other writers, singers, poets. India Ari, she is a favorite of mine. Yes. So I draw inspiration, like from a lot of different places.
Right.
But there's some people who are constant, in my creative process. So those people are usually in my ear, in my head, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And Susie is also a singer and songwriter. And
Yeah.
recently, they never played on the air, but there's a song that we had used a piece of Susie's songs when we did a performance at National Gallery. And I called her quickly, hardly lay hands on her suddenly and said, can you send me? And I was expecting a nice a cappella rendition with Susie dashing guitar for me. So we now have that as a recorded track that we would bust on the world at some point. So big up yourself, songwriter, singer,
Thank you.
and poet.
Thank you. Oh, short stories too. Thank you.
You see that? An actress, yeah, you. Dara
Yeah,
Ray.
all their own creative.
Yes.
Well, then.
You're sounding very low.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
I'm having some technical difficulties.
It's all right.
I was also going to say that really I don't draw inspiration. I like to pay respects to different writers, different authors, poets. I enjoy the work, but for me personally, I feel it's a disservice when I have them in my mind while I'm writing. But that's just me personally. When I'm thinking of paying respect to someone, because I genuinely like to keep their work untouched and how they see it. So that's just how I view it. But I do enjoy Lorna Goodison and Dennis Scott, but that's for me. That's where I am personally.
Rika.
So my laptop just gave me it's about to die note. I'm trying to find my charger. So I'm sorry, pass. I was ready too, but I got to pass. Hold on.
Oh, that's okay. So interestingly though, and I just wanted to tack on to, so Zara, did you share yours yet?
Nah, I'm going to do that now to give
Okay,
you
cool.
some.
Go ahead.
Yes. This is a very difficult question. So I was there going over it in my mind because, you have to choose amongst your favorites. And I can't say that they've inspired me, but not necessarily influenced my work.
Right.
Ferocity of Martin Carter, the sensuality of Jill Scott, the storytelling of Olive Senior, Lorna Goodison, and all of my Caribbean women writers who I revere, who I have them in a special place. And even though she may not technically write poetry, Toni Morrison is a big influence for me. Big influence.
Toni Morrison write everything, every God Almighty.
But this is my thing.
Everything.
People always think of her as a novelist, but I'm like, have you seen what she does with words? She can't be everything.
Yes.
So yeah, those are some.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rika, laptop restored?
We're good. Nice. So similarly to the gentleman, like I don't really sometimes when I write, I do have certain like artists in mind, but the pieces that I put forward for this chapbook really came just from a place of like self. However, I do always honor, like, I have a assortment of influences. When it comes to speaking just plainly and truthfully about the self and the self journey, I have to big up Dutty Bookman. His first book, Tried and True, really showed me like what that can look like and what it can feel like for somebody else to take in your work and immediately have a connection with you as an individual. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that, like, since I've read it, I've been trying to make sure I bring that same energy to my pieces. Definitely grew up studying Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou, and like Lauryn Hill. I know, again, she's a songwriter, but the way that she does words, even her freestyles, that really resonates with me, and the fact that, so like, even in studying her, I remember asking one of my homies, like, yo, what I gotta do to write like Lauren? He was like, well, you gotta read James Baldwin. You gotta, so I'm like, all right, cool. And so it took me to, let me study James Baldwin. So these are like, I think of all of these people when it comes to the craft.
Right. Awesome. And it's so funny. It's the spirit take care of things, because what I think what Zara and Rika said I was gonna share, because a lot of times writers assume that you're asking them, who do you copy? It's not that. Because if you're not reading other people to get inspiration, where's it coming from? So it really is, as you say, honoring. Like, so there's something like James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Kwame Dawes, and it's the same thing I said to actors who tell me, I want to act, I love to act. What was the last play you watched? So you're not watching anything, not to copy, but to see what exists. Because it's a so for me, there's certain things as an actor or actress in today's world. It might be helpful to watch one thing that Viola Davis was in. It doesn't mean you're going to copy her, but you might want to take a look, because master classes are being given for free. And then, like in the How to Get Away with Murder, you had her and Cicely Tyson in scenes together. And as Zara said, my hope is that this chapbook we're doing will not just be a nice lift and inspiration for us, but can be something that will touch and inspire somebody else. And we haven't even visioned and thought about what it looks like, giving it to schools, doing readings in schools, doing, there's a poetry tour that Malachi Smith organized as part of last year. So we haven't really, because we're still in the creative trenches, thought about, okay, so when it's done, what it look like, a launch, and what are we going to do with it? And are we going to, after we give our copy to the library, are we going to gift some schools with it? Make poetry or writing a norm in some of the non-traditional spaces, Because as Tribe, we're a non-traditional group. We perform in some traditional space, but our approach is not the, so even that is a whole other exciting journey that we're about to take together. I want to thank you again and big on up again in this 8th anniversary year of Tribe Sankofa to be part of this very new, never done before initiative for us. We've had people write pieces that the group has performed, but we've never put them into a collection. And that's one of the things we want to do more of, creating and crafting original work as Tribe Sankofa, but also as individuals, encouraging people to take their individual journeys, you know, and write and create and you know, run it by us in the tribe space. That idea of a nursery. Eugene Williams talks about the nursery days of the early theater, where there were spaces, incubators almost, where you things you couldn't really pay for. And Eugene said to me a couple of years ago, he said to me, none of the work that you've been doing in theater for your entire life should you have paid for out of your pocket. He said the government should have funded, because he said, you are doing developmental work. And I said, what? He said, he said, none of the work you do is going to make money. He said, the plays you choose to put on, but he said, it's important that they get put on. And he said, I've been to some of your and see young people doing some things, and I'm going, one time when I did, for Colored Boys who are considered a homicide, he said to me, how you get those young men to perform at this level? He said, how much money you pay them? And I'm like, very little. I said, the theater don't pay for it. He's like, you shouldn't be paying for this work. And it really is that idea of, for me, that's what Tribe Sankofa is. It's a nursery, it's a home, it's a healing space where we're not just about, oh, look at us, we're so talented. It really is about creating a space of safety, of nurturing, of love and healing, but also art and artistry. So I'm grateful, I'm excited. So people watching this interview, yes. The first ever Tribe Sankofa Chapbook will feature the work of Rika G, Donald Ray Donaldson, Susanna Blagrove, Campbell Blagrove, Chemo, Open Soul Armstrong, and Zara Warner. And there might be a forward written by Fabian Thomas, and I want to poem them in the front somewhere. But for running, but we're excited and we're honored to be taking this journey together. And like we're saying, I will keep you updated. We did a push for Christmas. Christmas might not happen, but definitely early in the new year, into the January month, this will be a thing in the world. So my tribers, my writers, I honor you. I salute you. Big up on yourself. Thank you for trusting me. And thank you for trusting the tribe space and bringing the fullness of yourself and your light, your love, and your grace on this Tribe Sankofa journey. Enough love. Peace. Yeah.